All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Zach Seward. Great to see you. We're going to dive into some more great content. I'm happy to introduce Maria Shen of Electric Capital. She's going to debut some high-level findings from the Electric Capital Developer Report, which is a really great asset to people building in the space who want to understand what's going on. So she's going to do a quick presentation, followed by a panel discussion. Please give Maria Shen a warm welcome to the stage. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. Awesome. Let's get started. I'm going to run through a bunch of data and charts very, very quickly. This comes from the developer report. Every year, Electric Capital puts together a developer report that accounts the number of open source developers that are building in crypto. And the way we're actually able to do that is we aggregate over 900 million commits across over 1 million repositories to understand what open source developers are doing. A big caveat here is, again, this only looks at open source developers. So keep that in mind as you look at all the numbers that are going to come, which means Coinbase developers are not included. Game developers are not included. Anyone who's building in closed source is not going to be included in these numbers there. Cool. So let's get started. Electric Capital is a VC firm. There's 23,613 monthly active developers contributing to open source crypto. Over the course of 2024, that was flat / a little bit down. But I love looking at this comparison against 2015. Obviously, in 2009, we had one developer who was Satoshi. July 2015 is when Ethereum launched. We were at a little over 1,000 monthly active open source developers, and now we're at 23,000, and that's 39% growth annualized, which is really, really incredible to see. There's a lot of differences since 2015. Crypto developers are now distributed across the world, and that was not always the case. You can see here that North America and Europe used to dominate. Specifically, North America had more than 40% of developers, 43% of developers, and now they have 24% of open source developer share. Asia is now the #1 continent for developers. 1 in 3 open source developers in crypto are coming from Asia. If we break that down into countries, it's the US, India, UK, China, Canada with the most crypto developers. The country to experience the biggest decline is the United States. The United States started off with 38% of the global developer share and is now 19% of developers, whereas India grew from 1% to 12%. If we look at the top ecosystems that developers are looking at by country, what's pretty fascinating is almost across the board in these top 5 countries, Ethereum is #1 and Solana is #2, except for, of course, India, where Solana is #1 and Ethereum is #2, and Base is #3 in India's case. And the #3 slot does change depending on the country. And most new developers are coming from India. If you do want to look at more of the country breakdown, you can go to developerreport.com to look at the numbers. But of course, we'd be remiss to not go through the Ethereum ecosystem as well. Ethereum has very strong network effects. 26% of all monthly active developers in crypto work on Ethereum mainnet and the Ethereum L2s. So on a monthly capacity, that's 6,244 open source developers. Established developers, which is this deep purple line, has grown tremendously. Established developers are developers who have been in Ethereum for over 2 years. They have grown 21% in the course of 2024, meaning that these, there's clear retention. They're developers who are clearly staying within the Ethereum ecosystem. But there's been a huge growth of L2s. 56% of Ethereum ecosystem's developers now work on Ethereum L2s, and this is up from 25% just in 2022. Ethereum mainnet, however, still has the most developers in the Ethereum ecosystem. Base is #2, Arbitrum is #3, and there's a lot of other L2s after that. So Base is the biggest Ethereum L2 with over 4,000 developers. And each of these top L2s have over 2,000 developers. Oh, we lost the screen. On a monthly basis, that's 3,592 developers working across Ethereum L2s. In terms of new developers, I find this pretty interesting as well. New developers really expresses almost like mainstream interest in crypto. And so new developer charts tend to follow price charts. And so I think, if you've been in if you've been in space a long time, I think the peaks and valleys here look pretty familiar in terms of when new developers come in. But what's really great is that new developers do come in more during bull markets, but that doesn't mean they don't come in during bear markets. And over the course of 2024, or even 2023, you can see that though we were in a clear bear market, you still had over 3,000 new developers per month coming in and contributing to open source crypto. And contributing to open source crypto is actually a pretty hard hurdle to clear. So it's quite a lot of friction. This is really fascinating as well, is if you look at the number of new developers, Solana became the #1 ecosystem for new developers as of July 2024, which made them the #1 ecosystem for new devs in 2024. A lot of these are coming from hackathons, and we saw earlier that India has the highest number of new developers, and India also has the highest number of developers working on Solana. And so a lot of this new developer growth on Solana is driven by new developers in India. The next panel is going to go through product market fit and use cases. So we're going to fly through some of the adoption metrics across different use cases in crypto as well. One is zero knowledge. I think what's really, really great about zero knowledge is finally where we're coming out of the research, and these numbers indicate that there's more and more developers exploring this technology. So as of the end of 2024, we're looking at a little over 2,000 monthly active developers working within the ZK space. Contract deployments also grew significantly. You can kind of see this clear up and to the right chart. But in absolute numbers, it's still quite small. So over the course of January to October 2024, there were 639 contracts deployed, ZK contracts deployed, which is up from 40, but again, in absolute numbers, still quite small, but really emerging, pointing to the fact that this is really an emerging space for developers. NFTs, a lot of things here really surprise people. For example, a lot of people think NFTs were most popular in 2022, but actually NFT deployments reached an all-time high in 2024. And a lot of that is because the definition of what an NFT has really dramatically expanded. It's not just art. If you dig into what the contracts are that are actually being deployed, a lot of it is identity, rewards, loyalty. And so now we're really seeing this explosion of what NFTs can be. And as a result, you can see that deployments have also hit all-time highs. Most of that deployment was happening specifically on Base as the biggest place for new deployments of NFTs. NFT minting activity, I don't have the chart here, but also reached all-time highs and is quite global. But you can see there are certain peaks when people participate a little bit more than others, specifically during US hours and during Asia hours. DeFi, over 3,000 monthly active developers working across DeFi, which is up in 26% annualized since DeFi summer in 2020. TVL we have really a tremendous amount of TVL now. This is even an old slide, and so the numbers are not as high as they are now. Ethereum maintains its dominance, and Ethereum TVL is 7x bigger than that of the next biggest chain, which is Solana. And it's been able to maintain dominance of its TVL since DeFi summer. But of course, you can see that alternative chains with TVL is pushing into the Ethereum TVL as well. DEXs saw a lot of usage in 2024 through the rise of meme coins. As of October 2024, there was 209 billion monthly DEX transaction volume, which is really a staggering number. Most of that, of course, was happening on Solana and Ethereum, and Solana settled more by DEX volume than Ethereum did. But if you add up Ethereum and all its L2s, it settled almost $1 trillion in DEX transaction volume over the course of 2024. I really like this slide because it shows that DEX activity is global. At no time is there a dead period, right, where no one is swapping on DEXs. But there are slight increases in DEX transactions, which is in US hours. And then going into stable coins, we have over, this number is a little bit stale now, but it's actually over 200 billion stable coins in circulation. Every day is minting a new all-time high for stablecoins in circulation. So stablecoins is just growing and growing in supply. Most of those stablecoins are living on Ethereum. The next biggest one is Tron. And I will stop there. But for anyone who's curious, we do release a report with over 200 slides of different types of data. And you can find that on developerreport.com. So thank you so much. Oh, and coming up next is going to be a panel on product market fit. We're going to have Andre from Safe. We are going to have Jason from A16Z and Gemma from CoinFund, and myself as well. That's just one word.
Wow, wow, guitar slide. Wow, wow, guitar slide. Coffee for drip and the lab coat on fire.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Jenna Pilgrim. I'm the head of platform at CoinFund. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Forget the Tech, Why Builders Should Focus on Product Market Fit. But before we get started, I would be remiss if I didn't give Andre from Safe the opportunity to address the Safe Bybit hack. So I'm going to toss it over to Andre to discuss that, and then we'll get to our panel as soon as we can.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm Andre, VP Growth at the Safe Ecosystem Foundation. And as you can imagine, like when going on this panel, I didn't think it was behind the circumstances that we're facing, especially not a panel that's called Forget the Tech. And as you also like to be honest, I can think a lot of people advise us not to be on panels here, but we actually don't have, we don't want to hide away. And we truly believe in self-custody and peer-to-peer non-custodial activities. Having said that, I'm sure a lot of you have been reading on Twitter here and there bits and pieces, but want to refer to the best sources, which are the report of the Safe Wallet team and also the report by Bybit, which are not contradictory at all, but very complementary, and basically stating that Lazarus, state-sponsored hacker group, did a very sophisticated attack on Bybit and compromised developer machine by the Safe Wallet team. And through that transaction, a malicious transaction was proposed, but also external assessment has shown that the smart contracts itself are rock solid. There's no vulnerabilities in them. And yes, the Safe Wallet team will keep on being very transparent about it.
And funds are safe.
Funds are safe.
Great, thank you. So let's get to our panel. So I'm blessed to be joined here for Andre from Safe, Jason from A16Z, and Maria from Electric, who you just heard from. So I'd like to start this panel really addressing the developer report. So you've just seen the growth of developers in this ecosystem. I'm joined by two storied VCs here. I'd be interested to know, and this could be to Jason or Maria, how do you really separate the measurement of what product market fit is? if builders are looking to sort of capitalize on specific metric areas, which areas, how do you separate what's a vanity metric and what is really an important metric? And it could be either of you.
Yeah. I think behind every metric, there's a lot of nuances. Even when it comes to developer numbers, one of the reasons why we track things like full-time developers or established developers is because a lot of developers come in through hackathons and they don't necessarily retain very well, but some of them do, right? And that's why we do have this long-term developer growth. And so for me personally, when it comes to developers, I really like to look at full-time developers or developers who are contributing 10 or more days in a 28-day period, or established developers who have stayed in the space for over 2 years, cranking away, which is really incredible. And these two segments specifically contribute over 80% of the code commits in crypto. There's a lot of vanity metrics. Actually, TVL, I would say, is a really complicated one as well. It's very good and it's very straightforward, and I certainly use it all the time. But it also doesn't really capture the nuance in a lot of it doesn't quite make sense that all DeFi protocols adhere by TVL because some of it need it for liquidity, but some of it should be measured by volume or revenue. One thing I've been thinking a lot about as well is adoption metrics. I think there's a lot of conflation between wallets and users, which I find very frustrating. And wallets are really tricky because in our data, we see that the overwhelming majority of DEX transactions are done by wallets on both Solana and Base, which are the biggest DEX participants, are done by wallets that are only transacting one time, less than $1. Right, and so when you have naive countings of wallet participation, all these things can be very misleading. But I think this is part of it. The space is evolving, and we're trying to figure out for ourselves what exactly are the right set of metrics. It's hard to apply Web 2 metrics to Web 3. It's really not a direct translation, and so I do see the industry in general pushing further for nuanced, interesting, thoughtful metrics, and certainly that's one thing we try to do as well.
Definitely. Jason, when you're looking at new companies to invest in, what kind of metrics are you looking for?
Yeah, so we take a view from really the other side, which is more of a bottoms-up perspective, and think of it more on a product-by-product and company-by-company basis, and really want to look at, is the team, is the company building something of high value to a core set of users? Do those same users come back again and again? Do they get joy and delight and utility out of using the product? And really what you want to see is starting with a small cohort of loyal customers and users and being able to double down on that behavior and grow that over time.
Andre, do you believe crypto has product market fit today? Yes or no?
Like a general question, general answer, yes.
Generally, yes. Okay. Do you, Jason?
I think I'll disagree with the premise of the question and say, so I think that looking at crypto as a category is just too broad. I think there are parts of the industry that are working really, really well. So I think the infrastructure level with Solana and Ethereum and the L2s has become like a phenomenal substrate for developers to build on. I think if you look at how the DEX ecosystem is looking in Solana and Ethereum, like that's really thriving. I think what we all want to see that we just haven't quite seen yet is a breakout consumer-oriented app or business-oriented app, and I think we're very close, but we haven't seen that yet.
Obviously, from at Safe as an infrastructure provider, there's a significant amount of information from that infrastructure providers need to get from different projects that they're working with. Is infrastructure product market fit for crypto? Are we all here to help people launch more blockchains?
I think there's definitely an argument that product market fit is very circular. So crypto serves itself. But I do believe that is also true product market fit. In crypto, I think every single word of product market fit is challenged. You don't know what the product is. Is that the protocol? Is that the token? What is the right market? Is that just people who are early and like to try things out? Are these speculators? Are these people that are in it just for getting yield? And I've been thinking about this also lately. I think the general metrics that we had for product market fit don't apply. So for instance, like people say you product market fit, you feel it, users are coming and they want the product there, they're waiting to get it. That is completely broken in crypto due to incentives. Like the whole product funnel from acquisition and lately also retention is completely biased. But I do believe a second kind of metric, which would be kind of like if half of your users would be sad if tomorrow you don't exist. Well, I think that's the better metric, because if you ask that to users, they would say, well, I'll just go somewhere else, a pre-TGE project that gives me incentives. And I think the users of products that say, yes, I would be really sad about it, and that can be a retail product, that can be a Zora, that can be an infrastructure product. I think it's kind of like more looking at it this way.
And Maria, we were speaking backstage. Do you think that speculation is a product? Is speculation a feature of crypto, or is it something to be averted?
Yeah, I think speculation is definitely a product. But I would say it's one of the many products for crypto, and many use cases involve speculative elements, but it's still a very clear use case. I think DEXs is a really, really great example of that. Decentralized exchanges, of course, is useful for swapping tokens. During meme coin mania, you see just, we were looking at over 200 billion in monthly DEX transaction volume, right? Absolutely insane. A lot of that is speculative. A lot of that is from meme coins. But that doesn't mean that this fundamental utility of being able to swap tokens, right? Being able to swap USDC for ETH, that is fundamentally quite useful. And so I think there's a mix of both in a lot of these use cases in crypto.
Jason, what do you think needs to happen where we can say, yes, this is what killer app or what company or category needs to really take off for us to be having this same conversation in a year and for there to be a concrete answer?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to say, hard to do, right? Which is that we as an industry need to continue to work to build better, more compelling products. And I think the great thing is that a lot of great talented entrepreneurs are taking a lot of shots on goal. I think that if you look at the preponderance of crypto products today, like the UX has gotten much, much better. Transaction times have decreased. Transaction costs have decreased by 2 orders of magnitude. So like everything's moving in the right direction. But I think like there's a good analogy with AI, right? Where lots of people were talking about reinforcement learning and machine intelligence for years and years and years, and then it took ChatGPT to put a user interface on top of something, make it generally useful, and now you've seen what that's catalyzed. I think we're not far from that in crypto, but it hasn't happened yet.
Andre, what categories are you seeing from sort of your customers or your users that you're excited about?
Well, I think we see mostly like stablecoin adoption. So yes, so I would say we have a high number of stable coins that are on smart accounts. And I think what is exciting about stable coins that it seems to kind of like align all the problems of the whole value chain. So at the end, stable coins have a huge utility depending on where you are at. Like having a stable asset is a privilege for a lot of countries. For countries that feel like their currency is stable, at least, it gives them access to a completely new financial systems that I see on the one side. And on the other side, issuers of stablecoin, there's a lot of value that is being left on the table, that is being captured by others. And now we see with a new generation of stablecoins that this value is being democratized. So that's, I think, why this is why this pulls off so quickly. Everybody's really moving in the same direction there.
Maria, I know you invest a lot and speak a lot about consumer crypto. What kind of consumer applications are you seeing in the investment landscape, or what kind of companies are you excited about?
There's a lot happening in the consumer space. I'm pretty excited because, as Jason mentioned, the transaction fees are so low now and transactions are so fast. I'm finally getting to the point where I'm using some of these apps, and it feels like a Web 2 app. It's super, super exciting. It used to be that Like, I remember having to pay $200 plus in fees, like sometimes, and like, it's, that's unthinkable now. So I do think the infrastructure is ripe, but what exactly is the first use case? I've been thinking about that a lot. There's a lot of different types of consumer apps or mainstream type apps in the crypto space today. I would say there's a category aimed at crypto natives that are maybe like descendants of Friendtech, for example. So there's Time.Fun is an app that launched and everyone's trying it out, which seems really, really cool. You just your tokens represent the minutes. That's definitely aimed at crypto natives, but it's a kind of like a fun social use case. Another one in that vein, but totally different, is Ethos network, which is effectively like a review system for everyone in crypto. And so there's a lot of scammers, but then there's also a lot of very, very reputable people in crypto. And so this is a system that lets you review people and gives you a credibility score. And so at the extremes, it's really the beginnings, like the early innings of a credit system, right? Which is really exciting and can get us to, crazier things like uncollateralized lending and other cool things in the future. So there's that category of consumer apps, which is still targeting crypto natives. And then I see a category of things that are really looking specifically not at crypto natives. A lot of them involve, for example, AI personalities and allowing, character AI-esque type platforms and allowing these agents to be able to transact in stable coins and thinking around use cases like that. Another one would be, I've seen a lot of companies working at the intersection of live streams in crypto, which is also really interesting. So enabling interesting betting markets in the middle of live streams, as well as allowing tipping in crypto. And so it really runs the gamut. I would say it's a very exciting time in consumer right now.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned sort of AI agents and the applications of crypto and AI. I know, Jason, we have a couple of portfolio companies in common in that category. How do you see the AI crypto companies looking at product market fit, and how do they decide what is just like yet another agentic AI company, and what is actually real, and how do you assess that category?
Yeah, I mean, I think the intersection that we're most excited about is that crypto has the opportunity to solve a lot of problems that AI creates. And so, for example, one of our portfolio companies, Jensen, just announced a little bit about what they're doing yesterday. And with the Jensen protocol, you can take a heterogeneous set of GPUs, contribute that to a training network. It can be as simple as or as low end as like MacBook M1 to a more powerful gaming card, and you can contribute that to a training swarm and train larger and larger models. And so, contributing directly to the GPU shortage that we have. So applications like that to us are super interesting. Other things like proof of humanity and proof of authenticity in AI are areas that I think are ripe for innovation.
For sure, definitely. We've obviously seen many projects raise large amounts of money before they have product market fit. That obviously is a diversion from the traditional venture model where you build something and then you raise the money and then you succeed and then you raise the money again. You raise the money again. How have we, and this is to Maria or Jason, how do we assess what is, does hype come before product market fit or does it come after? How do we, in today's crypto world, is that war chest of $100 million round, is that war chest necessary to be able to run the large scale experimentation required to figure out what's actually working here?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the unique properties of crypto is the opportunity to build a community around what it is that you're doing and use tokens and a treasury to incent the right behavior. Unfortunately, I think that lesson has been a little bit misunderstood, to your point, where people have only focused on the incentive part in some cases and not ended up building great products. And what we've seen is like that fails in 100% of cases. What works is when you build a great product, capabilities that your users love, and then you can use network effects and tokens as a way to drive the community towards the most advantageous behavior for them and for the protocol and the network overall.
Yeah, definitely. Andre, where do you sort of see your next wave of customers coming from? If the integrated partners are the real winners here, if they're the ones making money now, where do you see your next wave of customers coming from?
It's almost so hard to tell because it's such a general purpose technology that especially projects building on top of Safe, they have their own target group and user groups. So we see projects, for instance, like Picnic, that is based out of Brazil, that identifies stable coins and brings stablecoin issuance to their users. We have a Poly market that is using Safe, and they are going for betting and prediction markets. So I think it's very hard to tell. It's kind of for the builders on top to figure out how to take that technology and identify kind of their market.
Definitely. I think that's a great point to end on. So I'll toss it to Jason to talk about the next round of Crypto Startup School.
Great. Yeah, so in the spirit of product market fit, as some of you may know, at A16Z we have a program called CSX, Crypto Startup Accelerator. It's 100% focused on helping talented founders reduce the time to product market fit. It's a 9-week in-person program. We invest in every company that comes through at a minimum of $500,000. Our next cohort starts in San Francisco at the beginning of April, and we had closed applications for that. But as a special treat for ETHDenver attendees, we're reopening applications for the duration of the conference. So if you want to go to, we should have a QR code up here momentarily, but while we wait for that, you can go to apply.a16zcrypto.com and get access to the application. If you're starting something new, if you're building something, we'd love to see what you're doing and talk to you.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. We'll speak to you soon.
Coffee for drip and the lab coat on fire. Sticky note constellation stuck to the ceiling wire. Gas fees are confetti. They rock on PI.